Welcome to Elder Zen. Hit subscribe for simple health tips made just for seniors. Stay tuned. Your next great day starts here. Have you ever found yourself pausing in the middle of an ordinary day, suddenly aware of an odd ache in your calf, a kind of soreness that lingers, not quite fading away no matter how much you try to stretch or shift in your seat? Or maybe it's not your legs, but your breath. You catch yourself feeling winded, just crossing the living room or carrying laundry. Stopping for a moment to rest, wondering when these small struggles became part of your daily routine. It's so easy to brush these things aside, to tell yourself that's just what happens when you get older. After all, our bodies change quietly as the years pass, often whispering rather than shouting their messages. But what if those whispers are more important than we realize? What if your body is trying to tell you something not just about aging, but about a hidden danger quietly developing beneath the surface? Let's pause together and think about how often we let little symptoms slide by. Maybe you woke up one morning with a bit of chest discomfort, but once breakfast was over, the feeling faded. Or perhaps after a long afternoon of gardening, your leg felt unusually tight. How many times have you said, "Oh, it's nothing, just my age," and moved on with your day, playing with grandkids, chatting with friends, or enjoying a quiet cup of tea? But here's the reality. Sometimes these normal signs are actually urgent messages, early warnings that something serious might be at work, even if you don't realize it yet. Today, we're shining a light on pulmonary embolism, what it really is, why it's often misunderstood, and how those tiny signals from your body might be the first clues you need to pay attention to. Pulmonary embolism, or PEI for short, is a condition where a blood clot travels up to your lungs, blocking blood flow and placing your health in serious jeopardy. The most challenging part? PEI often sneaks up with subtle signs, a bit of swelling in one leg that gets worse in the evening, a nagging tiredness that doesn't go away, or a shortness of breath that feels out of place. These aren't the kind of symptoms that come with flashing lights or sirens. They're easy to miss and easy to dismiss. But here's the good news. Being aware is your greatest strength. By learning to recognize these early warnings, you put real power in your own hands, the power to protect your independence, your energy, and most importantly, your joy. This isn't about fear or anxiety. It's about preparation, wisdom, and the confidence to trust your instincts. In this video, we'll go beyond medical jargon. You'll learn the early warning signs of PE, why they so often go unnoticed, and what practical steps you can take if you or someone you love ever faces these changes. We'll share stories from real people, break down what's normal and what's not, and most of all, give you the confidence to listen to your own body. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped to spot the subtle signs, protect yourself, and help those you care about. Remember, every major health victory starts with a single brave decision: to listen, to learn, and to act. Let's begin this journey together. Let's start with a clear picture of what a pulmonary embolism actually is and why it deserves your attention, especially as you get older. A pulmonary embolism happens when a blood clot, usually one that forms deep in your legs or pelvis, what doctors call deep vein thrombosis, or DVT, breaks loose and travels up through your bloodstream until it becomes lodged in one of the arteries in your lungs. Think of it like a pebble blocking a garden hose. Suddenly, water can't flow through. Pressure builds up behind the blockage, and everything downstream suffers. In your body, this means that less oxygen is getting where it's needed. Your heart has to work harder, and your organs and tissues are suddenly at risk. Why is this especially important for seniors? As we age, our bodies naturally become more prone to blood clots. The blood thickens a bit, our circulation slows, and life circumstances often change. More time spent sitting, more surgeries or hospital stays, and more chronic health conditions. like heart disease, diabetes, or cancer, all of which increase your risk. Even common medications or something as simple as not drinking enough water can quietly make blood clots more likely. But here's the tricky part. Pulmonary embolism is rarely dramatic at first. Its symptoms can be so subtle that they're easy to overlook or blame on something else. It might be a calf that's just a bit achier than usual, a cough that seems to linger, or a sense of exhaustion that doesn't match your usual energy. Take the story of Ms. Gloria, a 73-year-old gardening enthusiast who thought her sore calf was from kneeling in the dirt. 2 days later, she was struggling for breath and dizzy. Turns out, a large PEI had developed. If she had known the signs, she could have gotten help sooner. The takeaway? Seniors, you're not being paranoid when you listen to these signals. You're being smart, proactive, and wise. Your body is on your side. So let's keep building that awareness together. Now that we've peeled back the curtain on why pulmonary embolism is such a serious threat, especially as we get older, it's time to look closer at how your body tries to warn you. These early warning signs aren't meant to scare you, but to empower you. Think of them as your body's way of waving a little red flag, saying, "Hey, pay attention, something isn't right." But what do these signs actually look like in real life? And why are they so often brushed aside or misunderstood? Let's walk through the most common clues, one by one, and talk about why each matters. First, perhaps the most important signal to notice is sudden shortness of breath. Imagine you're simply heading out to your mailbox, a chore you've done 100 times before. Suddenly, you feel winded more than you ever remember. It might catch you off guard. Was I always this out of breath? If you're feeling out of breath after very little effort, and it's new for you, don't just blame it on being out of shape. This change is your body's way of saying that something in your lungs or heart is making it hard to get enough oxygen. It's one of the hallmark warning signs of PE. Next, let's talk about unexplained chest pain. We often hear about chest pain as a sign of a heart attack, but pulmonary embolism can cause its own unique discomfort. It might not be the crushing pain you see in movies. Instead, it could feel like a sharp, stabbing sensation, or maybe a pressure or heaviness, especially when you breathe deeply, cough, or move around. It's the kind of pain that makes you pause, catch your breath, and wonder, what was that? Sometimes, this pain travels to your back or shoulders. If it doesn't go away quickly, it deserves your attention. Another sign that can slip by unnoticed is a persistent cough, sometimes dry, sometimes with a little blood. You might chalk it up to allergies, a cold, or even just getting older. But if you notice you're coughing more than usual, or if the cough is nagging and just won't go away, especially if you see any streaks of blood, take it seriously. This could be your lungs telling you that blood isn't flowing as it should. Now, here's something you can actually see and feel. Swelling, warmth, or redness in one leg, usually in the calf or thigh. This is one of the earliest signs that a clot has formed in your deep veins, and it's often the step before a clot breaks loose and travels to your lungs. Maybe you notice one ankle is puffier than the other by evening, or you feel a tightness or ache after sitting for a while. Don't ignore it, even if it's not that painful. Compare both legs. If one is clearly different, it's worth a call to your doctor. Let's not forget the more subtle signals. A fast heartbeat, sudden lightheadedness, or even fainting. Sometimes, your heart starts racing, working overtime to push blood past a blockage. Or maybe you get dizzy just standing up or turning too quickly, almost like you're about to lose your balance. These can be your body's way of signaling that oxygen levels have dropped. If you ever faint or feel close to it, don't wait, seek help right away to bring these clues to life. Let's share a couple of stories from real seniors, each one a lesson in listening to the body's SOS signals. Take Mr. Thomas, age 70. He always looked forward to his afternoon walks until one week. His leg felt heavier, so he skipped his strolls. It wasn't until his wife pointed out that his right ankle was much more swollen than the left that he called his doctor. They found a deep vein thrombosis before it could become a PE. And he was treated in time, or consider Ms. Irene, 79, who had recently recovered from a bout of the flu. She noticed a strange flutter in her chest and couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Trusting her instincts, she asked her doctor to run some tests. They found a small clot in her lung, caught early enough for a full recovery. What's the key takeaway from all of this? It's not about living in constant worry or racing to the doctor with every ache or pain. Instead, it's about being alert and tuned in to your own body, especially when something feels new, sudden, or unexplained. If you notice any combination of these symptoms, or if something just doesn't feel right, don't hesitate. Call your doctor or seek emergency care. You know your body better than anyone, and your quick action can make all the difference. So as we move forward, remember each of these warning signs is your body's way of asking for a little extra care and attention. By learning to spot them, you're already taking one of the most important steps to protecting your health and your independence. And that's something to be proud of. Now, having covered what pulmonary embolism is and the key signals your body uses to warn you, let's move a layer deeper. Why is it that so many cases of PE go unnoticed or are caught far too late, even by those who are otherwise attentive to their health? The answer is as fascinating as it is frustrating, and it starts with how easy it is to overlook, minimize, or misread these early warnings. Let's think honestly for a moment. How many times in your own life have you felt just a little off? Tired for no clear reason, nursing an ache in your leg, or feeling a bit short of breath and told yourself, it's probably nothing, or I'll feel better tomorrow. We all do it. It's only natural, especially as we age, for us to attribute new aches or fatigue to simply getting older. After all, we're told that stiffness, slower movement, and even breathlessness are part of the package after 60 or 70. But here's where things get tricky. The very symptoms we're most likely to dismiss, those gentle whispers of change, are often the first clues that a silent threat like PE is lurking beneath the surface. One big reason these signs are missed is because they build slowly over time. Unlike a heart attack, which often strikes like lightning, PE can be more of a creeping fog. You might feel a little more tired on Monday. By Wednesday, you're resting a bit more after lunch. By the weekend, you realize you've skipped your evening walk 3 days in a row. The changes don't scream, they murmur. And because the symptoms creep up gradually, it's easy to adapt your daily routine without even realizing it's sitting. A little longer, napping more, or cutting back on outings. All to accommodate how you feel. It's also true that PE symptoms are masters of disguise. A sore leg? You might chalk it up to arthritis, a stubbed toe, or a little extra gardening. That nagging cough. Maybe it's allergies or the aftermath of a winter cold. Even chest discomfort is often misread as indigestion, anxiety, or just a pulled muscle. In many families, there's a tendency to tough it out, especially among older generations who grew up in times when making a fuss was discouraged. You might think, I don't want to bother anyone, or it'll pass. These cultural attitudes, combined with the non-specific nature of PA symptoms, mean people often delay seeking help until symptoms become severe. Now, imagine what happens when these factors stack up. Slow building symptoms, a culture of minimizing discomfort, and a medical system that's stretched thin. The fire alarm is chirping, but it's so faint, so gentle, that by the time smoke fills the room, it's almost too late. It's a silent saboteur working in the background while life goes on. Let's ground this idea with a quick scenario. Picture Mrs. Daly, age 76, who started feeling more tired each afternoon. She figured it was normal and began skipping her daily phone calls with friends to rest instead. After 2 weeks, she noticed her right leg felt tender, but she blamed it on her old recliner. When she finally told her daughter, they realized her calf was swollen and warm to the touch. At the hospital, doctors discovered a blood clot, and she was treated before things got worse. Her story, like so many others, highlights just how quietly pain symptoms can steal into your life. But there's good news here too. You don't have to be a doctor to catch these signs early. You simply have to be willing to listen, to trust yourself, and to notice when something is different. Maybe it's your energy, your breathing, your comfort, or your normal routines that start to shift. If you find yourself making new accommodations, resting more, avoiding certain activities, or feeling like you just can't bounce back the way you used to, don't ignore it. These little changes, when noticed early, can be the difference between a quick recovery and a serious crisis. And remember, it's always better to check and be told everything's fine than to wish you'd spoken up sooner. Healthcare. Providers are there to help you sort out what's normal and what's not. They'd rather see you for a false alarm than miss something important. So, as we move forward in this conversation, let's agree. Your instincts are powerful, and your health is worth your attention. When your body sends you new, unexplained signals, no matter how gentle or easy to brush aside, trust your intuition and take them seriously. Because you know yourself best, and in the world of pay, every small whisper could be your body's way of asking for help before it's too late. Let's keep building on this knowledge, empowering you to stay in tune with your body. Advocate for yourself, and embrace each day with the peace of mind that comes from truly listening to your health. As we continue on this journey of understanding pulmonary embolism, it's important to take a closer look at risk. After all, one of the most empowering things you can do for your health is to recognize the factors that increase your chance of facing a challenge so you can take practical, positive steps to protect yourself. When it comes to pulmonary embolism, not all risks are created equal, and not every risk can be seen or felt right away. Some are woven into the fabric of our daily routines, while others are hidden in our medical history or even our family tree. Let's start with a question. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to recover quickly from surgery or an injury, while others face more complications? Or maybe you've heard stories from friends about blood clots after a long road trip or hospital stay. The truth is, certain circumstances and changes in our bodies, especially after 60, can make a blood clot, and therefore a pulmonary embolism much more likely. Knowing what these are is the first step toward keeping yourself safe and confident as you move through life. First and foremost, immobility is a major risk. This doesn't just mean being bedridden. It can also be as simple as sitting in a car, bus, or airplane for several hours without standing up to stretch or walk. Every time you sit still for long periods, your blood flow slows down, especially in the legs. This slow-moving blood can pool and, in some cases, form a clot. That's why frequent movement is one of the most powerful preventive tools you have. Whether it's pausing to stretch during a long movie at home, setting a timer for gentle walks around the house, or choosing an aisle seat when traveling, small movements add up to big protection. Another major risk is recent surgery or trauma, especially involving the hips, knees, or legs. After an operation or an injury, your body works overtime to heal, but this can make your blood stickier and more likely to form a clot. Hospital stays often mean more time lying down, which only adds to the risk. That's why doctors may recommend blood thinners, special leg exercises, or compression stockings after surgery, not just as a routine, but as a critical safeguard. Chronic illnesses also play a significant role. Conditions like cancer, heart failure, obesity, and kidney problems can all make clots more likely, both by affecting your blood's natural balance and by limiting your activity level. Certain cancer treatments or medications, such as hormone therapies or chemotherapy, can also increase your risk. That's why it's so important to work closely with your healthcare provider and let them know about any family history of blood. Clots sometimes risk runs in families, and being aware can make all the difference. And let's not forget the medications you take daily. Some blood pressure medicines, hormone replacements, or drugs for other chronic conditions can quietly influence your clotting risk. Always ask your doctor or pharmacist if any of your medications make you more susceptible. And never stop or change a prescription on your own. When in doubt, seek clarification. There's no such thing as a silly question when it comes to your health. Dehydration is another risk factor that is often overlooked. As we age, our sense of thirst diminishes, and we may drink less water than our bodies truly need. But when your blood becomes thicker and flows less freely, the chance of clots forming increases, especially if you combine this with immobility, hot weather, or illness. Making a habit of sipping water throughout the day. Adding hydrating foods like fruits and soups to your meals. And keeping a bottle nearby can help keep your blood flowing smoothly. Lifestyle habits, such as smoking, further raise the risk by damaging the lining of your blood vessels, making them more susceptible to clots. If you're still smoking, remember that quitting, even after many years, can dramatically lower your risk of PA, improve your circulation, and boost your overall energy. It's never too late to make a positive change, and support is always available. Sometimes, it's the things we can't change, like age, genetics, or a personal history of clots, that set the stage. But the real power lies in what we can do. For example, if you have a family member who's had a blood clot or PE, tell your doctor. If you're planning a long trip, discuss preventive measures ahead of time. And if you find yourself spending more time at home or in bed, make gentle movement and hydration a daily priority. Let's remember the story of Ms. Jean, age 81, who broke her hip and faced weeks of limited mobility. Her care team encouraged her to wear compression socks, perform simple leg exercises, and stay as active as her recovery allowed. Thanks to these preventive steps, she avoided a potentially life-threatening clot and got back to her favorite activities. More quickly, as you listen today, take a moment to reflect. What are your own risk factors? Which ones can you influence? Maybe you'll commit to moving more, staying hydrated, talking to your doctor, or sharing what you've learned with someone you love. Every action counts. By understanding your risks, you're not only safeguarding your health, you're empowering yourself to enjoy more days filled with comfort, confidence, and peace of mind. Let's keep moving forward, together with open eyes, proactive hearts, and the wisdom to protect what matters most. Our freedom to live life fully at every age. Now, let's take all of this valuable knowledge and turn it into action. Because, as much as we hope to never face a pulmonary embolism or any medical crisis, for that matter, the real difference is made in those crucial moments when you first notice something is off. It's natural, especially as we get older, to hesitate or downplay our symptoms. Maybe we tell ourselves, "I'll see how I feel tomorrow," or "I don't want to bother anyone." But here's a gentle reminder. When it comes to your health, every minute counts, and you deserve to act with confidence and care. So, what should you actually do if you or someone close to you notices any of those warning signs we've just talked about? Let's walk through a step-by-step plan together. One that's simple, practical, and easy to remember, even in moments of stress. First, stop what you're doing and listen to your body. If you suddenly feel out of breath, develop sharp chest pain, or notice your heart racing, don't try to push through or wait for the feeling to pass. If you're with someone else and notice that they're struggling to breathe, turning pale or blue around the lips, or seem confused or about to faint, help them sit or lie down right away. These are not moments for toughing it out. Your body is sending an SOS, and it's wise to answer quickly. Next, reach out for help without delay. Call emergency services or have someone else do it. When you call, be as specific as you can about your symptoms. "I've had sudden chest pain and shortness of breath," or "my leg is swollen," and I feel faint. If you have risk factors, recent surgery, long travel, a history of clots, mention those, too. These details help medical professionals act swiftly and make better decisions. Now, while you wait for help, stay as calm and still as possible. Take slow, gentle breaths and avoid walking around, climbing stairs, or trying to drive yourself to the hospital. If you have been prescribed blood thinners and missed a dose, mention this to the paramedics or doctor as soon as they arrive. If you're helping a loved one, keep them comfortable and reassured. Your calm presence can make a world of difference in a stressful moment. Once at the hospital or clinic, be prepared to answer questions clearly. When did the symptoms start? How severe are they now? Did anything make them better or worse? Medical teams may order tests such as an ultrasound of your legs, a CT scan of your chest, or blood work to look for signs of a clot. Sometimes, they'll also ask about your medication list, allergies, and medical history. If possible, keep a written list of your medications and key diagnoses in your wallet or phone, just in case. If a pulmonary embolism is confirmed, follow your doctor's instructions closely. Most people are treated with blood thinners. These medications help stop existing clots from growing and prevent new ones from forming. In more severe cases, doctors might recommend more advanced treatments, like clot-busting drugs or a special procedure to remove the blockage. Every situation is unique, but prompt care gives you the very best odds for a good recovery. After the immediate crisis, focus on your follow-up care and prevention. Schedule and attend your follow-up visits even if you feel better. Let your healthcare team know about any new symptoms. Side effects from medication like unusual bleeding or bruising, or changes in your daily energy. Many people feel anxious after a health scare, which is normal. Don't hesitate to talk with your doctor, counselor, or family members about how you're feeling emotionally and physically. Healing is a whole-person process. And here's an important point. Learn from this experience and empower yourself for the future. Ask your doctor what steps you can take to reduce your risk going forward. For many, this might mean gentle daily exercise, compression stockings for long travel, staying hydrated, quitting smoking, or adjusting certain medications. Take these steps not as a burden, but as a gift, a second chance to care for yourself and those you love. Finally, always remember, you are not alone in this journey. Thousands of seniors and their families have faced these challenges and found strength, hope, and even new purpose on the other side. Share what you've learned with friends, neighbors, and loved ones. Be the person who inspires others to speak up, ask for help, and seek answers. In moments of uncertainty, remember that your body's signals are there for a reason. Every ache, every twinge, every breath that feels different is an opportunity to pause, listen, and respond. By trusting your instincts and acting quickly, you turn fear into power and you put yourself in the best possible position to protect your health, your independence, and your peace of mind. Let's keep this momentum going, learning, supporting one another, and celebrating every wise decision you make for your future. Your health story is still unfolding, and every chapter you write can be filled with strength, courage, and hope. As we move forward, let's focus on what happens after the storm has passed, after a pulmonary embolism has been treated. After the fear and uncertainty have started to settle, what comes next? How do you reclaim your sense of safety and independence? Rebuild your confidence and move toward a life that feels not just normal, but even better than before. Recovery after a PEI isn't just about your body healing. It's about nurturing your spirit, making thoughtful choices, and discovering newfound strength along the way. To start, let's be honest, the first days and weeks after a pulmonary embolism can feel daunting. You might find yourself second-guessing every twinge or flutter, wondering if you'll ever trust your body again. Maybe you feel anxious or even a little fragile, and that's completely normal. Healing isn't always a straight line, and everyone's journey looks a little different. The key is patience and kindness with yourself and those around you. First and foremost, following your treatment plan is essential. If you've been prescribed blood thinners, take them exactly as instructed, never skipping a dose or stopping early unless your doctor says so. These medications help keep your blood flowing smoothly and lower the risk of new clots. Keep all follow-up appointments and make it a habit to communicate openly with your healthcare team if you notice side effects, unusual bruising, bleeding, or sudden changes in how you feel. Let your doctor know right away. Remember, you are not a bother. Your questions are important, and your health is worth every call and every visit. But recovery is about more than medication. It's also about movement, gentle, steady, and suited to your abilities. If you've just come home from the hospital, even a slow walk around the living room or light stretches in your favorite chair is a victory. As you grow stronger, add a few more steps each day. Or try simple exercises like chair yoga or light dancing to your favorite song. Movement helps your circulation, lifts your mood, and rebuilds your trust in what your body can do. If you're unsure where to start, ask your doctor or a physical therapist for guidance. Sometimes, joining a local class or inviting a friend to walk with you can make movement feel less like a chore and more like a shared adventure. Let's not forget about nutrition, your body's building blocks for healing. Focus on balanced meals packed with fresh fruits, colorful vegetables, lean proteins, and plenty of fiber. Drinking enough water is especially important as it keeps your blood from becoming too thick and lowers your risk of another clot. Try to make hydration part of your daily routine. A glass with every meal, a sip before your favorite TV show, or a gentle reminder from a family member or phone app. Lifestyle habits matter too. If you smoke, now is a powerful time to quit. Small reductions in smoking can have big benefits for your blood vessels and lungs. Limit alcohol, get enough rest each night, and take breaks from sitting, whether it's a quick walk around the block or stretching during commercials. Every positive change, no matter how small, is a step toward a healthier future. Emotionally, it's normal to feel a wide range of reactions: relief, gratitude, worry, or even frustration. Talking to someone you trust, whether a loved one, friend, counselor, or support group, can be a real lifeline. Sharing your story, fears, and victories not only lightens your load, but can also inspire others to be more aware and proactive about their own health. Remember, you are not alone. Many others have walked this path and found new confidence and community along the way. And here's something uplifting. Recovery is not just about getting back to where you were, but discovering new sources of strength and connection. Take, for example, Mr. Wallace, who started a neighborhood walking group after his pay, transforming his recovery into a source of joy, motivation, and friendship for everyone involved. Stories like his remind us that healing can bring unexpected gifts, new routines, new bonds, and a deeper appreciation for each moment. Finally, prevention is always easier and more powerful than cure. Now that you've faced this challenge and come through, you have wisdom that can keep you safer in the years ahead. Move often, stay hydrated, manage chronic conditions with your doctor's guidance, and pay attention to your body's signals. Know your personal risk factors and don't be afraid to ask for help or support when you need it. As we wrap up this segment, remember that each step, however small, is a step forward. Celebrate every bit of progress, every walk, every meal, every honest conversation with your doctor or your loved ones. Your journey doesn't end with recovery from a pulmonary embolism. It continues. Stronger, wiser, and with a renewed commitment to health and joy, your courage and care today are the foundation for a vibrant, independent tomorrow. So keep moving, keep reaching out, and trust that the best days can still be ahead. As we continue on this journey of understanding and self-care, It's important to remember that knowledge is a gift, not just for ourselves, but for everyone we love. Think about it. Every insight you gain today, every piece of advice you hear, or story you remember becomes a thread that weaves your family and friends a little closer to safety, comfort, and confidence. In a world where health can feel unpredictable and the pace of life never seems to slow down, sharing what you know, especially about something as silent and serious as pulmonary embolism, can be an act of true love. So, how do we start? Sometimes, it's as simple as a conversation over coffee or a gentle remark when you're walking with a neighbor. You might say, "You know, I learned something interesting the other day about blood clots. Did you know that swelling in just one leg or a sudden shortness of breath could be a sign of something important?" Just opening the door to dialogue lets others know you care and that you're willing to share, not to scare, but to empower. Because often, people brush off their own symptoms or don't want to seem like a burden. So hearing it from you, someone they trust, can make all the difference. Let's also remember the power of example. When you take charge of your own health, moving a little more, drinking enough water, wearing your compression socks on a long flight, or checking in with your doctor about a nagging ache, you inspire those around you. Your children, grandchildren, friends, and even neighbors are more likely to follow your lead if they see you taking small, proactive steps every day. You become a quiet advocate, turning awareness into daily practice. Don't be shy about sharing your own story either. Maybe you went to the doctor for a leg ache that just wouldn't quit, and it turned out to be the beginning of something more serious. Or maybe you caught a warning sign early and want others to know what to look for. When you talk openly about your experiences, you create a safe space for others to share their fears. Ask questions and, most importantly, act quickly if something feels wrong. In communities where people check on one another, more lives are saved simply because someone had the courage to speak up first. Staying connected is not just about conversation. It's about the little things that add up to real protection. Reach out regularly to friends and loved ones, especially those who live alone or are recovering from illness or surgery. A phone call, a visit, or a quick note can remind them that someone is looking out for their well-being. Encourage each other to stay active. Maybe suggest an afternoon stroll. Join a senior fitness class together or challenge each other to drink an extra glass of water every day. When you turn healthy habits into shared experiences, they're more likely to stick and more enjoyable. 2. You might also consider organizing a small group or joining a local support network where people can share tips, concerns, and encouragement. Whether it's a book club that starts every meeting with a 5-minute health check-in, or an online forum where members swap stories about managing medications and spotting symptoms, every community built around support becomes stronger and more resilient. And let's not overlook the simple act of encouragement. Many people feel embarrassed or hesitant to bring up health concerns with their doctor, fearing they're making a fuss or just being old. A gentle nudge from you reminding them that it's always better to be safe than sorry can give someone the confidence they need to speak up and get the help they deserve. If you're a caregiver, your role is even more vital. Monitor for changes, help set up reminders to move or drink water, and make sure medications are taken as prescribed. Keep an eye out for the subtle clues we've discussed, and don't hesitate to advocate for your loved one at appointments or in emergency situations. Sometimes, just having another person to notice a change in mood, energy, or movement can be the key to catching trouble early. Finally, understand that by spreading awareness through words, actions, and example, you're creating a ripple effect that goes far beyond your immediate circle. The advice you share might travel from your kitchen table to someone else's, from your neighbor to her sister, and on, quietly saving lives in ways you'll never see. So as you take care of yourself, remember to reach out. Offer a word of wisdom, share a story, check in, and create those small moments of connection that keep us all safer. In doing so, you're not just protecting your own future, you're building a legacy of awareness, kindness, and courage that will touch many more lives than you'll ever know. Let's carry this spirit forward. Together, turning knowledge into action, and action into lasting health and hope for everyone we love. And now, as we come to the end of our time together, let's pause for a moment and reflect on just how far a little knowledge and a bit of courage can take us. If you've stayed with me this long, it means you care deeply about your health, your future, and the well-being of those you love. That simple act of listening, learning, and staying curious is itself a victory, and it deserves to be celebrated. Throughout today's conversation, we've explored the quiet, sometimes sneaky ways that pulmonary embolism can affect our lives. And we've talked about the importance of listening to the early whispers our bodies send. We've seen that these signs aren't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's just a little leg ache that won't go away, a sudden shortness of breath on your way to the mailbox, or a fatigue you just can't explain. And sometimes it's a loved one who notices a change before you do, a daughter who sees your swollen ankle, a friend who hears the hesitation in your voice, a spouse who gently asks if everything is all right. But instead of brushing these things off, you now have the tools, the stories, and the wisdom to pause, pay attention, and act. You know that your instincts matter, that your concerns deserve to be heard, and that every symptom, no matter how small, could be a message worth listening to. You've learned not to let embarrassment, self-doubt, or even habits stop you from asking questions or seeking help. Remember, you don't have to do it alone. The journey toward better health is always easier, lighter, and more joyful when traveled together. Lean on your loved ones. Stay connected to your community. Share what you've learned, because your story could be the inspiration someone else needs to save their own life or change their own habits. And as you move forward, hold on to the simple but profound truth that your age does not diminish your worth, your strength, or your power to make a difference. Every day you wake up and choose to care for your body, to learn something new, or to check in on a friend, is another day you're building a future of safety, confidence, and independence. Each glass of water you drink, every short walk you take, every question you ask your doctor, these are all small steps. But together, they create a foundation for many more good years ahead. So as we close, I want to thank you. Thank you for giving yourself this time and space to learn and grow. Thank you for your openness and your willingness to take your health into your own hands. Thank you for being a part of this community. Your presence, your comments, and your shared stories truly matter to everyone here. If this video helped you, please consider sharing it with someone you care about, a friend who tends to brush off symptoms, a neighbor who could use a little encouragement, or a family member who's just starting to take charge of their own health journey. You never know whose day you might brighten, whose mind you might ease, or whose life you might save with a simple share. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for more videos filled with practical wisdom, uplifting encouragement, and real-life stories that remind us we're never alone in this. Drop a comment below, whether it's a question, a tip, or a story from your own life, because your voice could be the spark that helps someone else pay attention to their own health. In closing, let me remind you, every single day is a gift, a new opportunity to take care of yourself and those around you. Stay vigilant, stay hopeful, and stay strong. Keep living with curiosity, kindness, and courage. Because the most beautiful chapters in your life story are still waiting to be written, and you have the power to make each one better than the last. Thank you for being here. Until next time, take good care, listen to your body, and keep reaching for the life you deserve, one healthy, hopeful step at a time.